All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. We are now streaming live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. We'd like to welcome our guest to our podcast this afternoon. We'd like to welcome Miss Karin Kelts, Mr. Daniel Mulcahy, and Father Andrew Walter. We'd like to welcome all of our guests here on the Adams Brothers Podcast. And we are going to be talking about guardianship. And it is something new to me and my brother. And we hope that it will educate our viewers and shed some light on what's going on, not only here in South Florida, but around the country and maybe or even around the world. So we would definitely like to shed some light onto what's going on here regarding guardianship. So we'd like to welcome our guest to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, as we were talking off air a little while ago, I tried to get the lady to our female guest to go first, but she graciously passed the torch on to Mr. Daniel Mulcahy. So we're going to start with Mr. Mulcahy. And first of all, let's have you all, Mulcahy. We're going to have you all introduce yourselves, and then we'll come back to you, Mr. Mulcahy.
Okay. You want me to start?
Should I start? I'm Karin Kelts, Slater, and I got lots to say. We'll start in with Daniel.
Okay, great, thanks. I'm Daniel Mulcahy, the founder of Souls, standing opposed to the legal exploitation of seniors, which is a new advocate group. We're assisting people whose family members have been held in guardianships or are trapped in them right now. And some people, we just had a case about a month ago where we actually have a woman who has been freed because we caught it in time, and she's now free. So, and I know Karin, I looked into her case, and Father Walter just recently. So, yeah, I'm the forensic guy that digs into their cases and finds the dirt and the evidence.
Okay.
Well, you need to be in law enforcement.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Okay, and Father Andrew Walter, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm from Wayne, New Jersey. I live there and I work in the area for the church, and priest in good standing. I take care of my mother. She's 99 years old, soon to be 100, and I'm her sole caregiver. The thing is, it has afforded me time, other than my ministry, to do things when I'm semi-retired. And I have the advantage of having a lot of experience in Florida. I grew up my formative years in Central Florida, and relatives living right now, except for our dear beloved Eleanor, who passed away recently, who was killed by guardianship. As Dan and they killed her. They did. And they could say whatever they like about what they didn't do, but that's what they did. And that's it. And I'm just grateful for you having us on the air to get the message out that this does not have to happen, and it shouldn't happen, and it can happen. And to light the fire under, the bureaucracy in state and local and federal governments to say, this has got to stop. All right. We're a great country, but we got to do the right thing by the people who have no defense. And if you don't do that, whatever group of people you might come from, or the unborn, we've got nothing to talk about. If you can't make government work for anyone, from the lowest to the highest, it's a sad case.
That's well said. And Ms. Kelts, I believe you introduced yourself, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And
okay.
I'm sorry to say, but to hear someone else say the words that I say constantly about bringing light to this, it's robbery. It's taking one's identity. It's robbing people of their homes, taking family away from their loved one who's sick and terminal. And basically hearing that come from your mouth, it makes me say, okay, I'm not alone, and I'm not, exaggerating the things that have been going on, because it sounds like a really bad movie. What's gone on in the life of my ex-husband, Charles Slater. We have 3 adult children together, And from the moment that we found out that he was sick, it happened to be during COVID. And we get a phone call that, Charles has been found wandering and he's not well. And, next thing we know, we've told he was terminal with something completely different than what he actually has in the beginning. And we're talking 6 months to wait. And, now this has turned into something. He's got early onset dementia. The guardians who are supposed to be taking care and guarding this person who's, he didn't have a will, but he had a company. He had several cars because he was a race car driver. He was a biomedical engineer who designed several surgical instruments, stents, biopsy forceps, and very successful person. And, to watch these people come in and take his company was sold, patents were sold off his hard drives. They just liquidated his home, our home that our kids were born in, that we purchased in 1996, the 7 acres. We collected trees from all over the world. It was a botanical garden. There were extinct trees there, endangered trees there. And they just liquidated that. They've sold, it was the last thing that they could liquidate from him. They've literally sold every single thing he has, and there's very little money in the bank to show for it. I mean, we're talking priceless art pieces, things that, those are the material things. The things they take away from us as far as, knowing what's going on with his care, where he's even located, because at first they put him in a home so far away without even really giving us any knowledge of what was going on. They said, oh, go look at homes. And me and my kids went and looked at homes for him. And we were like fighting to keep him at home, which is where I believe he should be. My mother worked for hospice, the founder of hospice, for 30 years. And so I spoke of that home and how special it was and how he'd like to be there. Now he's in a small room alone in a nursing home, and no one and nothing. I mean, they've separated all the family and just, pushed everyone to the side, even deemed my one son a non-interested party. He's the son of Charles Slater, and deemed him a non-interested party because he started raising concerns and questions about the accounting and what's going on with his dad and what's going on with we had to find out he was on hospice through another person. And it's been horrible. And it's been, tragic to see this happening under the guise of our legal system and our judicial system. This is happening not just to our family, but other families, and it has to be stopped. That sounds so cliche, but I've never felt more impassioned about anything, and it's wrong. And I'm sorry there's other people who are dealing with this, because it's right in front of our faces. It's right here on court documents what these people are doing, with no accountability and no one asking or saying, oh, I've heard people say, oh, we need to see the financials. I've seen that. I've seen them turning them in, and I've seen nothing. I've seen nothing except, less and less money every time I hear about it. And now it's incredible. There's, probably a quarter, if not less, of everything he had and everything he worked for. Very sad.
And that's a shame. How could this be allowed to happen in this day and age? How could stuff like this be able to slip through the cracks and be allowed to happen? So that's the main reason why we're here today, to shed some light on guardianship and family members being held in guardianship. So Mr. Mulcahy, I'm gonna probably put your name on.
No, Mulcahy, you're right.
Mulcahy, since you've been the detective in this,
forensic expert.
What has been your experience with guardianship?
You know what? When this started, Mr. Little, Benjamin Little, has been a friend of mine for over 30 years, and he wanted to do a will and a POA and all this stuff, and he did it. But his cousin became the first agent on the POA. The minute that was placed in her hand, she made her move because she doesn't work, and she started taking his money. I confronted her, and I had her removed. I became the agent, but she went continuously behind my back and went to the Boston lawyers where Mr. Little had all his money and put him in a guardianship. And this is what she did. And she thought she was going to get control of it. It backfired on her. Now, what happened is, as I started, I had no idea what a guardianship was. This was not something in my repertoire at all. And I started digging into it, and I started noticing a pattern of the same players. Now, all of us right here have the same 2 players in our family. There is a woman. Can I say her name, or am I going to get in trouble here?
It's up to you.
Yes.
I mean, we always say this. Let me say this. The views and opinions expressed in this chat or comment section are solely those of the author and do not necessarily reflect
now,
the
right?
views of
Yeah.
the Adams Brothers podcast.
So
That's our disclaimer.
Deborah Jill Slater is the ringleader of the racketeering group in South Florida. She has a guardian that she continuously uses, Derek J. Byerly. He has all of us in our grips right now. She has worked herself all the way up into the Florida bar as Miss Goody Goody, saving everybody, and she doesn't. I had a statement around her I presented in court last week where she says, all my life I've done everything good to save people. And I said, what did you do here? You've just raped this man of all his money, and he's sitting in a nursing home. The same thing as Charles Slater is, and as Eleanor, right, was sitting. This is what they do. They systematically go through a process of finding the ones with the most money, and they wait their time, and they bide their time until they start getting older and the dementia or the Alzheimer's starts kicking in. And then they start putting them into nursing homes or rehab centers that are part of the corruption. I don't know if you can see that board behind me. That is a racketeering board. It's colored up, different colored yarn and string, all right? She's at the top up there. And then it goes down to all the victims and all the lawyers and how they pay each other off, going. And there's even judges up there. It's the same judges, the same lawyers, the same physicians that go in and evaluate.
Monitor.
Yeah, and it's the same ones because they know they get paid off under the table. In Mr. Little's case, they brought a woman in named Sybil Simon. She's a psychiatrist. When I looked her up, she's a convicted felon. She's not even on the list for doctors. They brought her in to evaluate, charged $2,500 unauthorized, and the court accepted that. She evaluated him, said he was capacitated, and what that did, it triggered them to change his will, change his trust, change everything to the guardian. So now the guardian has control. The same thing they did with Charles Slater and Eleanor, they did the same thing. They go in and change the documents to make it better for them. And
well,
then
I want to jump in here right quick. Most times these wills and trusts are set up by attorneys. I know our father and our parents, they wouldn't have their will and the trust set up by an attorney. How do they just go in and be able to just go in and change these things? Because once it's established where everything is supposed to go, how do they get in and change it? And how do they know about the money?
Well, because your dad probably, if they get a hold of him, all right, they're going to come across to him as his best friend in the world. And they're going to say, this is for you. It's going to benefit you. And then he'll say, oh, okay, because you know what? They're lawyers. He's going to trust them. Everybody trusts a lawyer. Wrong. Right. Don't trust a lawyer ever. Don't ever trust a lawyer. All right. They're only in it for your money. That's it. So they will convince him to change the documents, assign somebody else, and then you're done. They own you. They own the money. They own everything. They eventually own your life. They will change everything on you. And it's a shame because families are being lied to and saying guardianship's protecting my loved one. No, it's like having the devil on your shoulder going, yeah, let me get them right there. They got $1 million sitting there, and then they're going to get you. Charles Slater, the reason I went after Charles Slater there, that's bad. I didn't go after him.
Deborah, by the way. Deborah Slater, that's just a coincidence.
Yeah, it was just a coincidence. Where he lived he lived 6 streets away from me. I actually met that man with his race car one day, and when I met, he was awesome. He had a race car, a big, beautiful piece of property, and I started digging into the case, and then I think I contacted Karin or Soren, the son. Somehow we reached out, and we started talking, and I went, yeah, I lived on 19th, you lived on 26th, and it was just like, wow, this was meant to be. And I saw that case and went, this is the case we need to get out into the public. It's a big case. This guy is not a nobody. But
it was ironic that, you know, you started looking into this situation. I call it a playbook. The playbook that they had taken in the case with Mr. Little, it was exactly the same as the way that they had taken steps, judicial steps, to take advantage of Mr. Slater and his estate. And he did not have a will. He did not have anything to change. He had not done a will. And, you know, I believe that he was sick longer than we knew because he had had a traumatic brain injury, you know, earlier on. And I think that the Alzheimer's was a result of that. But he did not have a will. And so here these people were coming in as, you know, we're going to help you. You know, my one son was in Afghanistan fighting for our country. My other son was living in China. This is when COVID broke out. My other daughter was a minor at the time. So we went into this, and just the things that started to occur and disappear. And all of a sudden, you know, we were really caught off guard because my kids, I mean, they stand all this and getting, you know, compassionary leave from the service. I mean, they were all bombarded and just didn't see what was going on. And I, even to this day, I mean, here they're dealing with the loss of their father, who was truly a magnanimous, amazing, you know, very unique human being. And to see his life dissipating in front of our eyes, and then to see everything that he worked with them being taken away. I mean, it's really, they're still shell shocked. I mean, I know, you know, my two kids are very much in limbo in life right now because it's hard. You know, they can't move or go out of the country or go do things because their father's sick here, and we're not sure how long he's going to be here. He's on a feeding tube, and you know, he's on oxygen, but he could stay like this for a very long time, and which he would not want. We want on paperwork, and the guardian, Mr. Byerly, had assured us this was his first priority. And of course, that has not happened. I believe it will happen now that they liquidated the last of his assets. They will probably put that in place. But it's really sad, you know, that this is a legal, you know, and I mean, there's no way to go back. Yeah, how do you go back and get those things that they've taken from you, your home, your, you know, stuff in storage here and there? But I mean, they literally went in there, paid someone, I think, an enormous amount of money, sold the home for less deed since we left. There's been no one there. It's still on the market for more money than what they sold it for. I mean, that right there should raise some, how did that happen? You know, so there's just so many things that it's.
I want to touch on that, Karin, if I could. So, it's criminal. So what they do, they will take the person's property and sell it under the value to what they call a shell company. Somebody that's a shell that doesn't exist, okay? And they will undervalue it, and then, you know, it's back on the market. 6 from Mr. Slater is super. It's probably $15 million or more, or it could be more. I don't really know. Okay, but I know you guys can't see this. This is an attorney. These are all his shell companies. Every single one of them doesn't exist, but they're listed as an LLC. Companies, paint companies, you know, things that you put into a house, you get it so you can flip it back over. I think one of them is a real estate agent. And this is how they've got themselves embedded in this system. Once they take that property, that's usually the last asset of the ward. They sell it off, they spend it, and we were talking financials earlier. This is just a partial of Mr. Little's financial. They put him in John Knox Village, a rehab. Why?
That's in Pompano.
Yeah, that's south of us.
You know where it is, okay? And somebody just sent me a email. John Knox Village CPA is arrested for embezzling from, it must have been Kismet. But they spent $35,000 of Mr. Little's money on a rehab he didn't have to be in. Right now, they've moved him to another rehab on Commercial Boulevard. That bill is up to $50,000. Now, he has $100,000 left from the sale of his house. This is a $700,000 house. They paid themselves over and over and over again. You know what happens from here? Once that money's gone, he goes in Medicaid. The state now picks that up. Our tax dollars, your millions of dollars. And that's the racket that they have embedded into this system. It's just corruption all the way around. And
it sounds like it's organized, involved in the, why is the FBI involved in this? You know, some kind of way. The Attorney General's office,
they don't want to
the
do
Department
anything.
of Justice.
Yeah, everybody that I have spoken to, and everybody has sent papers in. They have done what we're supposed to do to protect our loved ones. They don't care. In Florida, we have the OPPG. It's called the Elder Affairs. You're supposed to go to them. They regulate the guardians and they file a complaint.
Tell us about the audit from this year.
They got offended. They got offended when we questioned the actions of the background of a guardian who we have the goods on. I mean, it's all over the internet. That's the beauty of the modern age. You don't have to wait 6 practically instantly, and it's all bona fide from the government, generally speaking. And we called OPPG, and my brother did, and they kind of took offense that we weren't accusing, we were asking. Oh, we looked at that, we didn't think it was a problem. Oh, really? She's an American citizen, but she's also a citizen of another country. You didn't check that either? She got all kinds of other questionable connections to the attorney who's selling these properties, and guess what? Eleanor had no physical, personal property left. It was all gone. And I saw it when she had it. Not that I saw it. I actually saw it with my own eyes. It was all gone. The lawyer said, well, we tried to have a disposal of all that property. And you told Eleanor, because Eleanor told me, oh, they told me all the contents go with it. That's what we do in Florida. I'm like, I don't think so. Okay? And she had 2 properties, and she had, when I found her at a community in Fort Lauderdale, in Hollywood, I went to visit because my sister, who had her, because my sister, is 30 years younger than Eleanor was, and she was my mother's first cousin. She was like her twin. That's how close they were. That's my mother talked to her all the time for decades. And the thing is, I get a call from my sister last year, June of 24. I said, what's happening? She goes, they won't let me see Eleanor. What do you mean they won't let you see Eleanor? We're being investigated by DCF. I said, why? I said, and then I get down there and I try to visit. Oh, you can't come in. I said, why not? You're on the list. I said, what list? Well, you're being investigated by DCF. I said, for what? And who? No one from the government notified me I was being investigated. No one interviewed me. So I got on the phone immediately at the guard gate, and I'm in my collar, by the way. And I was calling the Hollywood police, and a woman starts running out from the institution, said, well, we're her aide. We're your cousin's aide. I said, can you tell me what's happening? You can't come in now, but come back later. They smuggled me in all week. They had me hang out in the laundry room. My management was gone. Lackluster, rude management. When I asked questions, oh, don't get indignant. I got angry. I wasn't just indignant. I was angry. They would not let us see our family member who was vulnerable. And I walked in, and that's it. And a couple of cans of soda in the refrigerator. She had absolutely nothing. Her 2 daughters had died of cancer. One of them was married a really wealthy guy. They had no children. They left everything to Eleanor. And let me tell you something. There was nothing left. No personal property. And I saw both of Eleanor's property. We actually stayed in the cheaper one when we were visiting her a couple of years earlier. And I'll tell you something. I could not believe what she had in there. Hey, she was entitled. She was a good person. The thing is, she was like a clothes horse at 15 grand. I'm like, where is all this stuff? Not that I'm interested in that, but where is it? That's what I'd like to know. Didn't belong to me, but it belonged to Eleanor. I want to know why a lawyer is saying you can't see a relative. You're being investigated. Nobody from the state notified me at all, ever. And then when they found us innocent, he goes, they accused me of being a drug dealer and a drug user. Comes from an officer of the court. They accused my sister of being a drug dealer and a drug user. That comes from an officer of the court who was actually in cahoots with probably other officers of the court. So when that comes from a lawyer to one lawyer, that's admissible evidence. Let us see her. So I looked for her attorney. I said, well, she had an attorney way back when. This is in 2017. My brother was dying. We went down to visit. I took my mom. That's where we got to see all Eleanor's property. She was by herself by then. And we went to see this lawyer, and I said, oh, what's going on here? I went to the hospital. Eleanor had gotten sick. I took her to the hospital. And I'm going to the front desk. It was 2 days before Halloween in 2017. And I'm at the front desk. I said, I'm going to go see my cousin. And there's this guy standing next to me. I need to see this person. And I'm sitting there listening. And the woman asked, oh, what's her name? She goes, Eleanor Everly. That's our cousin. Who are you? Well, I need to see Eleanor. She needs to sign these real estate documents. I said, excuse me. First of all, she's incapacitated in a real way. She doesn't feel well. She can't sign anything. I said, get out, or I'm going to call the cops. And unbeknownst to me, I talked over my uncle. I said, there's somebody trying to do this, that, and the other thing. Yes, I'll take care of it. I said, listen, Uncle Charles, you take care of, because he's good. He was really concerned with Eleanor. He's only a couple of years younger than her. He was in his late 80s. I said, you take care of the financial end. I want the health proxy, because that's what I do. I'll make sure she gets the best of care and spend all resources on her health. And for her 24, I go looking for a lawyer. I won't tell you his name. It doesn't matter, because there's an investigation going on, and I don't want to compromise anything. This is not a state investigation, because they're generally worthless. Local investigation, there's some people working on a local scene. This is a national investigation, okay? And I can't go any further. I wish I could. The point is, I look for this lawyer. I call up. I said, I call my sister. What do you mean they want you in? I called a lawyer with this person's last name. The law firm said, that must be the one. So I talked to this person. I said, can I speak to so-and-so? She goes, why do you want to talk to him? Are you his client? I said, no. Well, what do you want to talk to him for? I said, is this the so-and-so law firm? She goes, yes, it is. I said, why can't I speak to him? She goes, that's my brother. Why are you using him? I said, what do you mean, why am I using him? My cousin used him. I'm not his client. I don't know why you got stuck with him or she chose him because he's shady. This is his sister talking to me, and she's an attorney. So I couldn't believe. I said, I'm coming down to Florida. I had some other places to go cross country for some meetings and such. I made Fort Lauderdale my destination. I go see, can I meet with you? She goes, I'm of counsel to a firm in Fort Lauderdale. And I went to see them. And again, there was the first $7,500 deposit, which I don't have, but I gave it to them anyway. I gave them all I had. And that total went up to around $40,000. Guess what we got for 40 grand? All of her possessions were missing. I got a small defense at the Zoom meeting, at the guardianship inquiry. The opposing attorney said, well, he's been accused of this and accused of that. My lawyer said, oh, that's been disproven. That's my defense? That's what you're going to say if they call me a drug dealer? That's been disproven? There are other things at work here. These are answers that I want. So, again, well, we want you to apply for the guardianship. I said, I don't want guardianship of her money or her estate. I want guardianship of her person. Hire an accountant accountant, not a lawyer. Hire an accounting agency that's got fiduciary responsibility for that money, is going to watch it. And they said, okay, well, we'll do that. Why don't you see us on a Zoom meeting? They gave it to a third party with the attorneys that were opposing us watching, and the judge signed off of it with a smile on his face. And we had a representative of the court. She got $25,000 just by showing up and being Eleanor's court-appointed attorney just for one Zoom meeting. That's what she got. I said, "What? Well, she's making a lot of money. A half hour's work, she got 25 grand." Then we got stuck, and then it just spiraled from there. That's a lot of stuff I told you. There's a lot of backstory, but that's the gist of it. It's a lie. And nobody has done anything for us, clearinghouse for guardianship fraud, and then our friend Dan Mulcahy here. Got your name right, Dan. And the thing is, what you're doing, gentlemen, is so important to get this message out. You don't have to acquiesce to these people. You don't have to give in and demand your rights from the government. I mean, I have no hope, really, in some of the state government. Well, good portion of it. Listen, I live in New Jersey. I shouldn't throw stones. The point is, they got issues, and Florida it's a national pastime down there. It's ripe with this stuff.
Let me interrupt you, Walter, before you get all wrong.
No, I'm stopping.
I don't know if you're driving. So what? Okay.
I'm stopping now.
I don't want you to get hurt. So what do you think? So I want to cut on that. So this Deborah Slater with Derek Byerly, all right, silly hard. They have not taken on one new case of Ward. Not one. I check it every single day. They know, I know the racket they have doing, and they know I can prove it. It's just going to take me the time to put the pieces together and drop the hammer on them. And with all of these people, and these are just only two, there's a lot of them that follow me on Facebook. They tell me their stories, and I do it, and I see that happening over and over with the same players, like I said. But the fact that this woman has not taken on any more cases signals me she knows I'm going to make sure she goes out. I want to be there when they put the silver bracelets on both of them. Seriously. And I'm going to laugh my ass off when she goes down.
Along with that lawyer we know, with all those shell companies that you discovered, Dan, I knew about those, a few, and everybody just brushed it off.
Too. They take the money and funnel it through charities that don't exist. I mean, this is a massive thing. Yeah. It's just so many avenues you can go in. And again, we get no help. No politicians wants to step in. They know about it. The governor of the street colors are painted rainbows. Really? People are dying. Yeah, they're killing them. Yeah.
I understand the audit that was done on the OPBG for 2004 and 5. Yeah. I mean, if you read that audit, it illustrates all of these things that we have been discussing that were red flagged by them, and there still has been nothing done.
I'll find it for you guys. I'll find it and send it to you because they did it.
And I wanted to ask a question too. Yeah. When you all go to like here in Broward County, we have a state attorney. We know him. I mean, we know him real good. His name is Harold Pryor. We had him on our podcast before when he ran, and when he was just on here months ago. When you go to these state attorneys across Florida and you show them all your documentation and all your evidence, how do they react and what do they say?
They ignore us. They ignore us. They don't pay attention to us. Yeah. That's absolutely like we don't exist. Yeah.
We report things. We've been reporting things all along, but I mean, we've been before the judge. I've written letters. But I'm the ex-wife, so I'm the non-interested party, which, by the way, they tried to get the very beginning a restraining order on me, and it was denied. And I'm like, why on earth would they want to restrict what? I mean, I've got no ill will with Charles. I was going and caring for him and cleaning his home while he was first under care. And they trying to get a restraining order. And now I know why. because I know about his life and his companies and his race cars and all his properties, and they didn't want me to raise any red flags. I mean, it is textbook, it's like the mob, but this is our government, and it's exactly like it really is happening. I mean, this sounds so far-fetched, but I can tell you right now, I've seen so many lawyers. I've spoken to so many lawyers. I've spoken to other government officials, and no one will touch it. You hear these, oh, we're going to look into it, or, oh, we can't, get involved with this one. And finally I said, please just tell me why you won't touch this. Well, Deborah Slater was part of a task force. She was part of the guardianship law. I mean, she's made laws in the state of Florida for guardianship. I mean,
she shows up in every damn case. I'm sorry, Green. She shows up all the time.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have any business in being there. Yeah.
Someone left a comment. Deja Vu Entertainment says it's legal human trafficking. That's what one of the comments says.
That is a interesting story. I know them personally. And I know the gentleman's wife, and she was murdered by them. She was left alone to die. She didn't want to die. They put a DNR on her so that they didn't have to resuscitate her. This woman was a fashion designer in Miami. Lots and lots of money, very well known. And they saw that. That's the thing. They go for the big dollar signs. And this woman did not want to die. And these people raped that account down to nothing. Those two people are fighting their asses off right now, trying to get some justice for her. Her name is Kim, and trying to get justice for her. It's the same player, Deborah Slater and Derek Byerly. These are the same players in Broward County. And we can't seem to get any. When you go to an attorney and they say, oh, yeah, I'll take the case. And then they say, who am I fighting? And you say, Deborah Slater. Said, nope, can't do it. Won't go up against her. They're afraid of her because they know the judges are in her hands. She pays those judges off left and right. And
what do you think it is? Political contributions or something that has these judges not wanting to act?
I don't know. I don't know. I looked. I couldn't find anywhere where. Okay, the judges in our two cases is Judge DePrimo. I couldn't find anything where. Yeah, but here's the thing. I just discovered somebody. She was arrested for DUI, fought the police, and it was buried. That case was buried.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Yeah, we remember those. We remember that case there. I remember that.
Happens all over the country.
Yeah. But
and here she is sitting with the bench or something. Yeah. Didn't she resign from that position?
No, there was another one. There's another one. Yeah, that did it. And then you have Charles. What is that other guy's name? Karin, Green. Charles Green. That man had a stroke.
Oh, Judge Green.
Yeah, Judge Green. He had a stroke and sitting on the bench ruling on people while his face was falling off.
That's sad.
And he should never have been there. And he made a racial slur from what I understand. And they moved him to a criminal thing and then they threw him out of there. Wow. These judges are all corrupt. I stood up 2 weeks ago after they badgered the hell out of me. And it was just like I had a stroke a couple weeks before, so I wasn't really fully there. And they badgered me. They brought 5 attorneys in against me. That's how afraid of me they are. They know. But
you sound very knowledgeable.
Yeah. I
had Charles in court for requesting a neurological evaluation with Judge Green, and this was in 2019. And our son testified, and Charles was adamant that nothing was wrong with him, and he was, very hostile about the whole thing. I was denied the neurological evaluation on, let's say, a Tuesday. Then we were put on stay-at-home orders that week. And then 3 weeks later, we get a phone call that Charles was found wandering the property and that he had been taken to, the hospital. And then all of a sudden, this whole thing snowballed in front of Judge Green, knowing that I had just been there with Charles and didn't even bother to go and revisit that. And next thing you know, he's in a guardianship and under the rule of Judge Green, who's now retired, and we have DePrimo. I had big hopes for her when she came on our case, because the first thing she said is, what's going on with the money? Let me see the money.
I
Now
mean, to me, it just sounds like it's
racket.
helpless. I mean, every time you try and you turn a corner, the door's being slammed in your face. I mean, everything that you all are saying. I mean, it's screaming at me like, can the governor do something about this? Governor DeSantis?
I don't think the governor cares. I think he's part of an industry. I mean, I don't think he's evil or anything, but it is an industry. It's one thing I've learned from Dan and from Rick Black at Sear. This is an industry, a $100 billion a year industry. That's not unbelievable. It's happening everywhere. And this judge, by the way, my lawyers, I kind of like them. They actually proficient. They were very proficient at the paperwork. They were excellent at that. I think they were working in a system that I asked them to work for. They didn't force me to take their counsel. I wanted to. I think they advised me rather well. But the point is, they probably knew it was hopeless, but they didn't. They're so inured to it. How can they advise me otherwise? They're going to turn down business for what they did for me. They did do a couple of things that did work, but in the end, it was all fruitless. And I was told later on, it was always going to be fruitless. This is what Dan has taught me. This is what Rick Black has taught me. In the end, is guardianship is fruitless because it's not going to benefit anyone than the people who are running these programs at all. It's like running a welfare service to the people who don't need it. All right, and it's not getting to the people who really do. I didn't need it. I don't need it. They took everything I had. That's okay. Go ahead, take it. It's not a lot anyway. It doesn't matter. The point is, I wanted to visit my family, and they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let my sister, and they wouldn't let my mother, who I still take care of, and that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Okay.
They blocked me from seeing. Yeah, they blocked me from seeing Mr. Little. If you could read what they said about me, it's the same thing. They make us the bad guys. They said I was abusing him, stealing his money, keeping him drunk so I could manipulate him. I brought a little girl.
Gold diggers, that's what they said to us about our children, that they're gold diggers.
Her children, they were bad. They were bad children. They were taking advantage of their dad. Yeah. But this woman came in. She was a caregiver where Mr. Little was. She got on that stage and the stand, and they said, well, tell us about Mr. Dan. And she said, Mr. Dan was great. He came there 3-4 times a week. He would bring lunch. He would take Mr. Little out for lunch. She says, he even took us out to dinner one night, all of us, or he brought us dinner. So when they heard that and the judge heard that, and then she said, well, did you ever see Mr. Dan bringing liquor in? And she says, absolutely never. She says, Mr. Little would walk around to the liquor store and get it. Boom, it was done. That just proved how much damage they do to the family to keep us away from them. Mr. Little used to walk to the liquor store, but he's incompetent. Yeah. And
so they just assassinate your character and just make you look like the devil in order to.
That's right.
Yeah, and they keep us away. They keep us away. Under Florida, there's a statute, I think it's 744. They cannot stop any family member from visiting their loved ones unless they feel a real imminent danger. So by telling them I'm bringing liquor into him, or her children are coming in there bothering him, or he's coming in there,
Oh, they monitor us now.
Yeah.
We visit. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And this is part of that corruption. They paint us as the bad guy, and the judge sits there and goes, oh, well, you can't go see him because you argued with the nurse. Well, how do you know? We weren't there. Yeah.
And then your meeting.
I had a Zoom visit with my sister. This is the first meeting by phone. We had it months and months with my mother up here and myself and my sister down there. They had it on the sidewalk in front of the building. And because I had been rude to the administrator there. Okay. Now, again, you had staff there smuggling me in all week. They didn't want to hear about that because they had to do something about it. The point is, I said, hi, Eleanor. We were having a wonderful time. I said, you're looking great. And she was looking great. I said, guess what, Eleanor? We got great lawyers working on your case and everything's going to be great. A hand comes across the screen, grabs her arm and pulls her out of this little group on the sidewalk because that's it. This woman said, that's it. I knew you were going to start something. Start what? I said, hi, Eleanor. We got great lawyers working on your case. That was enough. I was inciting them. And at the Zoom meeting, when we mentioned this, the judge he's like he was in Disneyland. he had such a dumb look on his. I actually kind of liked him, but he looked goofy to me. Okay, and the thing is, here maybe he was goofy. The point is, I told him about this, and the Guardian, who by the way has 25 different versions of her name on the internet. Apostrophe, an S, a middle initial, an addition, 25 different ones. It's all documented. My brother sent the report to the judge. He goes, "This is disturbing." He entered into the record, and we didn't hear a thing about it.
Williams.
She wore an eye patch.
Yeah.
She looked like Captain Hook. I mean, I'm not even going to mention her name. I don't care. Go after me. You can't get a thing. Can't get blood out of the stone, ladies and gentlemen, at all. You want me living on the sidewalk? I'm practically there right now. No big deal. I got news. I couldn't care less. I wanted to see my family. All right? And they wouldn't. Piss on the money. Pardon my French.
Yeah,
the hell with it.
They use the nursing homes as their personal police. The Guardian will go in and say, nobody can see them, and it's up to you to keep them away.
Those people, they smuggled me in all week, and I love them for that. And I actually paid. They were working for my cousin Eleanor for nothing. And I gave them, I got receipts. I gave them cash. I said, thank you. These beautiful Jamaican women, they were sweet. They were angelic. If they asked me, we saw what they were doing. We want to help her. And we've been coming in for free. I paid them 6 months back wages.
Wow.
I got one right now taking care of Mr.
Let me ask one question too.
Yeah.
I want to ask one question. Like, is there anything that even for our viewers and everyone watching, for someone like me that don't know, is there anything leading up to having to get to this process? Is there anything someone watching like that has a elderly parent or grandparent? Is there what can they do to protect themselves from the stories that we're hearing from
Remember, Judge? Remember Thurgood Marshall? He said, agitate, agitate, agitate. Well, guess what? He's right. But advocate, advocate, advocate in nursing homes about health issues and financial ones, and find good lawyers. There are good lawyers out there. I'm part of this BS, okay? I won't use the other word, but you know what I mean.
I tell everyone now, have your affairs in order.
Right.
Have a will, have a surrogate, have a health surrogate, have it all. And I know Daniel's had a bad experience with this, because they've doctored up things, and which is unbelievable to me as well. But I tell everyone, because it's all I can do is say, have your affairs in order. I wish and I pray, I wish Charles would have had a will and had his affairs in order. I even think he might have, and it was hidden, but that's a whole nother story. But I have your affairs in order. That's all.
We didn't have a will. We have a will. We've got a will that's being adjudicated right now, but our assets are all gone still. So that didn't do a damn thing.
Here's the thing about a will. You can be named a beneficiary in the will, but it doesn't kick in until the person is passed. Then it happens. In the beginning, you have to have a durable general power of attorney, because that means it goes on if the person is capacitated or incapacitated. Then there's a health surrogate, or they call them advanced health directives. That means you make health decisions for the person. All right. Then you can do a trust, and you put all your stuff in the trust. You can also do a pre-need guardian, and that has to be approved by the court when you need it. Okay. So you can designate somebody. Now, there's some drawbacks to this.
Losing you.
I think we get a bad connection from Mr. Mulcahy.
Yes.
I think yes,
we did.
Yes.
The power of attorney.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Yeah.
Dan, you're not coming through.
It becomes active. So if you give
Dan, you're not coming through.
your age,
Mr. Mulcahy, your internet
have a bad connection.
It's slow, real slow. Okay, one of you could just jump in and finish off with.
we lost you there, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Mr. Mulcahy, your internet connection just went down. If you could just repeat that in about a minute, what you said, we'll be fine.
Yep.
'Cause you were giving out some good information that the people need to hear.
Yeah, I know it crashes. I'm hiding. So if you're POA, once you give that to somebody, they can take over your life. Don't give it to anybody. Create it, keep it to yourself. Don't show it to anybody because they will take over.
That's the
Yes.
power of
Now,
attorney.
your health surrogate, that piece of paper is very important. A lady told me it's like a stick of dynamite because if a guardian comes in and they don't have that and they start making decisions about your health, HIPAA kicks in. You can file a HIPAA complaint and they take that very seriously. So you can get these documents together. And the thing is, you just got to make sure 100% that the person is capacitated when they're doing it. So this woman named Catherine, she was just evaluated. She is capacitated. We did a personal private doctor evaluated her. I gave her the packet that I have, which has all that into it. She has filled them in. She was capacitated. Now the court just did the 3 doctors that they're required. All 3 of them said she's capacitated. She's protected right now. They can't do anything about that. No guardian, no lawyer can come in. So everybody needs to get these documents in place, do them. They're very important. And make sure you read the documents 100% before you sign anything. Some of these sneaky lawyers put in something called an agreement where they can come in if they feel you're in danger and put you in a guardianship. That just recently happened to somebody I know. I said, oh, no, that's not happening. No, we're not doing it. The other thing is notaries. That's my biggest pet peeve. These documents need to be notarized 100% according to the state statutes. I have about 100 complaints in right now. They're starting to come back in. 2 lawyers have been removed because they didn't notarize the documents. Deborah Slater, I must have 27 cases of perjury and fraud filed on her. She lied to the court, telling the guardian lives in a P.O. box, gentlemen, on Commercial Boulevard, number 204. That's his residence. That's not where he lives.
That's a virtual address.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's illegal. But the judge, out the window, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. So that's the other thing. That's where I started investigating where these people live, where they're putting the false addresses in. Half of them, more than half, are all fake, fraud, and perjury. And the judges, they just accept it because they figure the lawyer knows their stuff. But get those documents done. I give them out for free. I've given out 2 more today to people to fill in. And I'll walk them through it if I have to over the phone. Fill it in. Go get it notarized, get it stamped, put it away where nobody sees it except for you. And that's what we need to do. Rick likes to go after the reform, but how can you reform a law when these guys are criminals? They know how to circumvent and go around it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I give Rick 100% credit. That man showed up in a case for me and stood against that judge. And I was like, this guy's got his shit together. I'm
Yes, he does. Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's an outstanding. Him and his wife, absolutely outstanding people. Absolutely.
But for me, I like to go outside the box. I can't win in court, but I can protect people outside to keep them from going into guardianship. And the more that all of us keep talking about this and getting it out there, the more people are going to be aware of what's happening.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're going to go and get themselves protected. And then they're going to tell 2 people, and those people will tell 4 people, and it's going to build and build and build. So eventually, maybe nobody will be placed into a guardianship anymore.
Well,
the other thing we need to do is go after our politicians. Yeah.
When this podcast is over, hopefully we could share it 1,000,000 times, share it with all of your friends and everybody that that's a victim, that's possibly a victim that's going through this. Share it with them and let them watch this video because it is certainly educational. I'm learning
me too.
A whole lot that I didn't know. And this is just mind-boggling to me, just sitting here hearing these stories. I mean, you feel hopeless and helpless.
Yeah, I have stories. I would love to get them on. These people want to come on and tell their story to you guys. They would curl your hair, even though you got short hair up there.
No hair.
Yeah, we don't have any. So.
That's something I always got. Nobody can take it away from me.
I mean, these people, I hear it all day long. They cry.
There it is.
Oh.
Okay.
They cry on the phone. I had a lady yesterday. I just didn't know what to do with her,
Yeah. Well, you know what, Mr. Mulcahy, when we get off of the air through the email and everything, there's a name that we like to share with you right here. I won't say the name because I don't want the and this person here is like relentless. When I tell you, has an engine that doesn't stop, and will turn over every nook and cranny and turn over every stone. This person is a reporter.
Oh, great. Yes, that's what we need. Yes,
like to introduce you to, and maybe you know the person, maybe you don't, but off air we'll share that information with you.
And the question I wanted leading up, I had right here. Why haven't the stories that I'm hearing? Why haven't the national and the local media picked up on CNN, stories like this? Newspapers. I mean, I know the newspapers.
Lawyers advertise, brothers. I got news for you. And they're connected to the other media, and they got friends doing this and do this and do that. They want money too.
Have you seen the movie, gentlemen? Have you seen the movie called "I Love You a Lot" or "I Care a Lot"?
I care a lot.
I know I haven't.
Watch it. It's a little Hollywoodish, but it's the story. Mm-hmm. The better one is the Hallmark story called Bad Guardian. It's with Melissa Joe Hart. It is exactly what happens to people.
Sick.
Her dad, they couldn't locate her, and her dad, the guardian, swooped in and kidnapped him. She fought for years. It tore her family apart. There's another one out there, something about a guardian. It's kind of hard to find, but those two will give you everything you need to see and go, wow, this is happening in America. Yeah, it is, over and over again. And there's a couple of reporters that do the stories, and then we can't get back to them. We don't know why they don't want to continue.
I'm just getting started. So there will be some media going on for sure.
Oh yeah, because I know the media that we have here in this area, they're very relentless. And the stories that I'm hearing from you are mind-boggling, and I can hear the emotion in Father Andrew, and I feel sorry for everyone, all of you up there that had to experience that, and it's just, I read one of the comments. I wanted to read this comment. It said, "You need an independent audit report." That's what it sounds like you need. And even if you had that, would you even get anywhere?
We've been asking for the accounting. I'll tell you, it's an interesting ride, a very interesting ride. We will get it, and there will be truth. And I have to hope and pray we will have justice. I never thought that I would sit here and say, something negative about our judicial system, but boy, I had my eyes opened. And you don't always get the truth in our judicial system. That is for sure. And it's sad. But I intend to take this and talk about it, and the media, and get the story out there. I mean, I used to be in the film industry. I was a producer. This is, but I hate to say it, but it's a movie what's going on. And if that's the way to get this message out to people, then that's what will be, because the movie, that's the way to get a message out today in this world, is through cinema. And it has always been that way. And, so this is to be continued for sure.
Yeah. And you know what, as I said earlier, we had the Broward County State Attorney on our podcast here. I mean, we will, and I see one of the comments, Carol Porter said, "Ask the state attorney what he plans to do about it." I wish that I had knew about this prior to when we had him on our podcast months ago.
But now
I can still email him and ask him what, and tell him to watch the podcast.
You should get him on while we are here, and let us fire after him. He won't like it. He won't like it. I'm serious. He won't like what we're going to say to him.
But I would love to know, what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? Because the OPPG has put it this audit that was horrendous, and even, revisited it after a few months to see what had been done, which was nothing. What are they going to do? Because this is happening.
OPPG staff are chaperoning people. They belong to the same clubs. They go to the same dinners. They go to the same convention. Dan was telling me last week in New York to tell each other how to do these things. OPG is part of the problem.
I'll send you some pictures. I'll send you pictures, gentlemen, of
Yes.
the guy, Anthony Palmieri, I think his name is. He's standing there with one of the other top lawyers in South Florida and the guardian that's involved in our case. They are buddy. It's like the den of thieves. They're all in the same net.
A conflict
And they
of
don't want to
interest.
do anything about it. They
Yeah,
don't care.
Clamoring, man.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just
Many.
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I mean, what I'm listening to is like you say, everyone is buddy. I mean, do anybody know the word conflict of interest? I mean, is anyone?
Thank
You
you.
know.
Absolutely. Sure.
You know, I want to touch on one other thing. You had Marty Carr on one of your shows.
Yes, he's the property appraiser.
That man is a snake, and I'll tell you why. I went to him with 4 deeds that Deborah Slater signed, didn't notarize them, clearly fraudulent. You know what he said to me? There's nothing we can do about it. But yet he sat on your show and said that a notary caught blah, blah, blah. He knows about it. He is in on it. There are so many deeds sitting in there that I have looked at. And to the point, you know what he did? They blocked me from seeing the deeds. I had to confront them. They got my IP address and blocked me because they went, this guy's investigating us and he's catching us. And that man's a snake. You need to bring him back on and let me go after him right in front of you, because I'll go after his ass.
We'll invite him back on the show. We'll invite him back on the show, and you can always call in. Like we have a phone line.
I would love to show him. I will send you the deeds, the copies, and you put him in front of his face and say, "What's wrong with this deed?" And I guarantee he'll say, "Oh, this is wrong." And then I say, "Well, why didn't you do that when I sent them to you weeks ago, months ago?" You know it. I saw that. I was flying out of the chair because I'm like, that man is a snake. He's in on it. He knows what's going on, and he just pushes it through the system.
Why do you think he do that? Why do you think he do that, Daniel? Why do you think he's
money?
When you talk to him, he seems like, I mean, we had him on. Yeah, we see him to the city commission meetings, and everybody likes Marty.
Like him. He's a likable guy.
He's a very likable guy, and I'm saying, why do you think
he's not liked in my book? Trust me. I mean, when you go to them, he even said it on your show. If you have a problem, come to me. You can't even get to him. He will never return a call or an email. But yet when he realizes, oh, crap, they got something, he blocks you. You can't see anything. And that man, he knows. Yeah, he knows.
Well, even if he blocked you from getting the documents, can't you use the Florida Open Public Records laws to get those documents?
No, I had to go to another IP address. I actually had to go to my phone because it's through another IP, and then I could get into it. At first, I thought because of where I am, I didn't have a great connection. But I had other people down in Broward say, could you look this address up? I think, Karin, you did yours, didn't you, for me? Yeah. And I said, can you open this up? She says, yeah. I said, mine just sits and spins and spins and spins. I had a computer technician tell me, no, they're blocking you. They have blocked your IP address so you can't see the documents. I go on my phone. It's a different IP. Boom, I can open it up. That told me that they have a way of blocking you from seeing the documents.
Oh, of course, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They have their IT department. They're real, very
real
good.
When I called them, when I called them and confronted them, they said, "Oh, there's nothing wrong on our end." I was like, "Bull crap! How come I can't get in it with other people?"
Wow.
Tell me another lie. So, like I said, he's a liar.
I want to say one thing to Miss Karen Porter. I see she said talk to the state attorney and Marty Kyle. We will. Trust me. I promise you that.
Invite him back on.
We will talk to him. We'll invite him back on to talk about this, and let's see, will they come back on and talk about this? I know the state attorney will.
Let me know ahead of time, gentlemen, and I will get those documents to you, and I will pinpoint what's wrong with them, and you'll see it, and you put them in front of him, and you'll see what the response is from him. He's either going to say they're okay, and I'll prove to you they're wrong. I will prove 100% they're wrong. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you had a house and they talk about people stealing people's property. I'm rolling through the deeds and I go, oh, here's one that's not done right. I go down and file a fake quick claim deed on your property. And then all of a sudden, you know why? It wasn't notarized right. And the clerk's going to go, well, that's not a notarized, right? It's fake, blah, blah, blah. But your deed is right. So here, what is that door opening up? If these notaries are not done right, can you imagine a guy sitting in prison right now, hearing me tell you about notaries, and he goes in his documents that he might have or his family and go, these aren't notarized right. He can file for an appeal to get out. Can you imagine what that would do to the legal system? They would have to go back through every single case in this state because somebody could say, these aren't right. I'm going to declare them invalid. And that door is an explosive one. It's very explosive. Yeah. You know,
Well,
I think that's why Deborah Slater is afraid of me right now. She knows what I know is going to kill her in the end. She knows what I have in my hands.
And also, I wanted to ask, is any of these attorneys involved in any of this, or anyone that you know that have been involved in this guardianship, have any of them been disciplined by the Florida bar or disbarred or anything? Have any of them that have been accused of wrongdoing?
They're part of the problem. The Florida bar will not discipline anybody. They will not. They protect them like you wouldn't believe. There is none of them. They have to do something so serious to get them disbarred. I mean, I see a few, I hear about the stories, but yeah, there's something outside of what they did to disbar them. And it's only a handful. It's only a handful. But when you go to the Florida bar, they won't do anything about it. Nothing. They don't care. They're part of the racket. They know how much money comes in. Yeah.
Seems like everywhere you turn, you're running into a brick wall.
Roadblock. Yeah.
There's nothing.
You know, the OPPG, I just found this out from a young lady that helps me out. They get, I think she told me it was $18 million a year in tax dollars to operate. They're supposed to protect people. They're getting $18 million a year of tax dollars to do nothing. Nothing. I have a case in there. The inspector general came to the property. He interviewed me. He left with about 50 pages of evidence. It's been in March. I haven't heard one word back.
And that was the next thing I was getting ready to ask you. I was going to say, here in Broward, we have the office. I just wrote it down. The Office of Inspector General. And I was asking,
he don't do anything either. No, he won't do anything either.
I keep hearing the same thing over and over. They're not going to do anything. I mean, it's like, again, I feel helpless here.
Right there. It's on that board. It's the racketeering. It's a
They got paymasters. They've got paymasters to answer to. That's why they're not doing it. They were told not to do it.
Yep. And they don't. Here's another one. I filed after the hearing. I got right in the judge's face, stood up to her, and I said, you cannot get a fair trial in Broward County and in this court, and especially if you are the damn judge. And she sat back up and said, I said, you need to recuse yourself from this case. And she says, file the motion. I reached into my briefcase. I said, right here, I'm prepared to do that. I just filed it, 118 pages last Friday. It just went in today. You know why? The clerks are in on it. It was supposed to go in on Monday or Tuesday. I had to call and say,
my hands up every time I get ready to ask a question. You say the clerks are in on it, and the county property appraisers and the state attorney and the governor and the lawyers and the judges. I mean, you feel
bang our head against the wall. Yeah, we just bang our head against the wall. We're like a tick on a dog. We just got to keep going after them until we finally get the blood.
There's somebody out there that has to listen. The only thing I can think is the FBI. You know, you get the FBI in here, they'll listen.
What about the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
FDLE.
I went to the Fort Lauderdale Police and tried to file a perjury and fraud case and the theft of Mr. Little's. He had antiques and valuable paintings, much like Charles, and they wouldn't do it. They said, oh, it's a civil matter. That's bullcrap. They can still file a case number.
Or that we have to speak to the Guardian before we can do anything, because
you're supposed to go to the Guardian. So, I mean, Charles had a, what is that guy's name, the artist, Karin?
MC Escher. He has
one of those famous Miami artists. I mean, the painting is and now it's listed at Sotheby's for many millions of dollars. That didn't belong to them. They took it.
It sounds like Rico.
It is Rico. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Little.
Rico here.
Yeah, wow. The Guardian had Mr. Little. I left all of his antiques in the house. They evicted me from the house. I left them all in there because I thought, all right, they're going to say I stole all this stuff. We're talking, there's a painting in there for $500,000. It's gone. Nobody knows where it is. There were antiques in there, definite antiques from the 1800s from his father and mother who traveled China. I mean, you'll never see this stuff again. Gone. gone, and nobody seems to be able to account for it. I have pictures of it. Yeah, they took all of his furniture and clothes. Who knows where they are? I had to take him clothes. I had to ship him clothes because the girl said, "Can you send him some clothes? He's sitting in a dead woman's clothes. He had women's pants on, sitting in a diaper." How dignified is that?
One person said it's elderly human trafficking.
Absolutely. Sure it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's I mean,
well, it can also happen to a young person too. I mean, I don't think the person has to be elderly to, for this to happen to. If like everyone's been saying, if you don't have your paperwork in order and you don't know the process, this can happen to anyone.
I get quite a few people saying, can you help me with my kid? And I look into it, and it's just like when you deal with children, it's so complicated. I mean, really super complicated.
Oh, it is.
My expertise on that is not that 100%. I give them what I can do for them, and it's the best I can do. And I tell them I can't do much more, but I'll be here for you. I can support you. But children are a different. In fact, we did a little puppet show. Yeah, we did a little puppet show for children because people kept asking me.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, guys.
And it was, we had puppets saying what happened to their friend, and it went over really big. And they were like, "Wow, you put children in here." I said, "We did puppets as children, and the purpose of that was to get the attention, to get everybody to look at me and let me tell my story. Let Karin tell her story. Let Father Walters tell his story. Let those other people, Carol and everybody, do their story. Watch their stories. Let's do their stories." It's all the same cookie cutter procedure they do. It's a racket. It needs to end. It absolutely needs to end. And the only way we're going to do it is like people like you guys putting us out there, bringing those people on and letting us go after them, because this is new to you. You don't know all the ins and outs.
And if they've got nothing to hide, then they should be full transparency and show us the stuff that, let us see. Let us see what you do with this.
Let us put stuff in their face. Let us show them documents and see what they react to it. And then let's see if they do something. Chances are they're not going to do a damn thing. They won't.
Well, let's remain hopeful that someone out there is gonna someone somewhere here in this county, they will listen to you and do what's right. It may seem helpless and hopeless right now, but there is always hope that that someone sees this podcast and wants to do the right thing and steps in at some level. So I don't know what level that would be, but just steps in and says, "Hey, we have to stop.
We have a problem here."
When it hits home to them, then maybe they'll want to do something about it. Maybe
at the end of every one when I do a little video myself, I do some funny ones like I'm Sam Screw 'em all, the attorney putting you into a guardianship, and then I cover it up at the end, telling them why. But the end of my things, every time I do a story, I say to people, remember, if it can happen to them, it can happen to you.
That's right.
And people react to that. They're like, what's going to happen to me? And they email me all the time. And I'm like, it can happen to you. Are you protected? Are you guys protected? Do you have a POA? Do you have all the stuff? No, I could go to the court right now and say, hey, these two crazy guys are on YouTube. They need a guardian. And the court's going to put you in one because you're doing stuff weird,
Now, let me ask you, is that very similar? I wanted to ask you because before we get off, is that very similar to what was happening to, I believe, Britney Spears and Wendy Williams?
What?
Wendy Williams is
the guardianship. Is that very? Yeah. I know Britney Spears had something with her dad. Britney Spears and the Wendy Williams, the talk show host. Britney Spears, the dancer.
Some states call it conservatorship, and then some states call it guardianship. It's all the same package. It's just where you are. So Britney was in a conservatorship. Her dad was taking control. The poor girl was an entertainer, and she was getting burned out, and she had to react to. And who knows if she was on drugs? I'm not going to criticize her. She's an entertainer. Yeah, right. Wendy Williams, I was not a great fan of Wendy. She was funny. I watched her. But then when I found out about this, and when TMZ smuggled that phone in, I went, yes, the press is now watching this. She's a celebrity. And I looked into her case about her son. A bank put her in there. Wells Fargo Bank did this to Wendy Williams. Wells Fargo, if a freaking bank can put you in a guardianship, what does that say about the rest of the country? Anybody could put anybody in a guardianship.
I mean,
So
because you hear about Wendy Williams and Britney Spears, and I'm wondering how come here we're not getting that. You, Karin and Karin and Father Andrew are not getting that type of exposure. And I know money plays a big part.
They don't have the money that
the
these
resources
celebrities
play,
have. Yeah.
right? But I'm just wondering, I mean, because that's when I learned a lot about guardianship. Just those two cases that I just said about was Wendy Williams and Britney Spears was when I really heard about guardianship. I heard it locally, but did not really know.
I would love to. I would really love to get into. Yeah, I would love to get the documents on Wendy's case. I would love to get in there and do some forensics on that. You wouldn't believe what I could probably find in there, but it's locked up because of her celebrity status. I tried.
She's somewhere here in Florida too, I believe. They moved her here to Florida.
Well, she has a condo in Miami Beach, but she's still locked up in New York. They put her back here. Yeah, and
everybody's locked up in New York.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I would love to get into that case and dig and go, wow, look what I just found in here. And you know, I reached out to her attorney and said, let me help you. Let me get into that case. He doesn't want to go into it, you know, because of her status of what she is.
And ours is an ongoing situation right now. You know, Charles is in a home. He's, you know, not, you know, he's got a feeding tube and oxygen, and he's, you know, almost vegetative, so to speak. But so, you know, we're dealing with that. But I do have hope, and I hope through means like this that we are getting the word out, and that the truth will prevail. I pray.
Yeah, we pray too.
Yeah, we're gonna pray for you all that you all get the justice that you all deserve, and have these crooked politicians, judges, lawyers, whoever they are involved, they all need to go to jail and stay in there for life for abusing and human trafficking of elderly senior citizens here in this country here. So
any final thoughts from any of you before we go? Because any final thoughts?
Adams Brothers, thank you for having us on. And you're doing good work, and I appreciate it. And hopefully you're going to do more good with this podcast alone than you'll probably even know. And you get credit for that. Believe me.
Yeah.
When it comes time to pay the piper in the afterlife, you guys are going to do really well. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a while. I've been hoping and you know, it's just like, come on, guys, get this thing together here and let's do it. Yeah. Because, but you're going to need more time because this thing is so vast. You know, there's just so much. And you know, we can do it. Just bring us back on, and we'll dig. We'll get you all the dirt.
Reach out to them. Yeah, we'll reach out to them. We will. We're very known here in South Florida, so we will reach out to them, and we will, you know, keep you all posted.
I'll come down with my boxes and spend a week with you, and watch your eyes go boing out of your head when you see what I do. And you're gonna go, what the hell? Yeah.
Well, I just want to put this out there. Thank you, gentlemen, for having us on here, and you know, keep your loved ones close. You know, spend time with people. You know, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So enjoy.
That's right. That's right. We say that all the time on our podcast. Every week we on here, we say that, you know, enjoy your loved ones and enjoy people while they're here, because life, nothing is guaranteed. Even after we get off this podcast, nothing is guaranteed for us.
That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
If they put you in one, guys, you call me. I'll fight for you.
We'll do.
God bless you.
So Daniel Mulcahy, Karin, Kelts Slater, and Father Andrew Walker. Thank you all.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for having us on, gentlemen. Okay.
We really thank you all for the information and us here on our podcast. Thank you very much, and
thank you.
Stay on top of this, and I know that you all won't give up, just like us. And we're gonna invite those people. Marty, we're gonna invite him back on our show, and hopefully we can get some answers, and you'll be able to tune in.
Yeah,
great.
Awesome.
Thank you all, ladies.
Thank you all.
Thanks, brothers. God bless.
Have a blessed evening.
Thank you very much.
Nice meeting all you all too.
You too, brother. Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.